Hey, what's going on guys, Mixuba here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a mono black aggro deck for standard best of 1. So with Adventures into the Forgotten Realms, this deck got a hell of a lot of upgrades. So we're going to go through all the new cards, and then we're going to get into some quick games. So we got a bunch of new 1-drops. We got Dungeon Crawler. This is a 1-mana 2/1 that enters tapped. It also has the text that whenever you complete a dungeon, you can return it from your graveyard to your hand. We don't venture at all in this deck. This is literally just a 1-mana 2/1, but it's it's more aggressively statted than any other black 1-drop that we have. So that just shows you the state of black 1-drops, where I think that it's worth running the Dungeon Crawler. Anyways, I'm recording the intro after the games. The card performed reasonably. A 1-mana 2/1 is just a really good stat line on a creature. We have the Shambling Ghast. Now this card also goes in the Rakdos Treasures deck, but I'm trying it out in mono black aggro. 1-mana 1/1. Whenever it dies, you get to either create a treasure, which can help you ramp to your bigger and more powerful creatures, which this deck actually runs a fair amount of. We can have like turn 3 Gelatinous Cubes or Ebon Deaths, or turn 4 Westgate Regents, which is pretty cool with the Shambling Ghast. It also makes blocking more awkward for the opponent, and 1-mana 1/1 is a fine creature. Other new cards we have are the white. I'm not a fan of creatures that enter tapped or can't block in best of 1, which is why we're only running 2 whites. Basically, it's a 2-mana 3/2, which is pretty sweet, and whenever it deals whenever a creature is dealt damage by it and dies, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token and you exile that card. So it's not a bad creature. The opponent does not want to trade with it in combat or block it in combat, so it's gonna consistently get in for 3 damage, which isn't horrible. But Skyclave Shade kind of does a similar thing where the opponent doesn't really want to trade with it because you can buy it back so cheaply, and it also can be reanimated from your graveyard. So I think a 2/2 split is fine because this thing can never block, and it has like the landfall reanimation kicker ability, and this thing can make more bodies and still stick around. So we're trying it out. It's a new card, pretty sweet creature. We have Power Word Kill as a new Doomblade that I'm trying out in the spot of Heartless Act or Eliminate. Honestly, it worked out great for me. There's a couple angels in standard that you have to watch out for, especially just tokens from the mono white life gain decks. But if they're generating angels, you're probably losing anyways. And there's a couple dragons, and there's a lot more in the D&D set, but there's a couple playable dragons that I am worried about, like Goldspan Dragon and stuff like that, which this card does not deal with. But it's for that reason that we have a bunch of other new cards. Also Murderous Rider, not new, but kills the creatures that Power Word Kill doesn't. But yeah, we have more new cards to deal with creatures that this doesn't, like the Gelatinous Cube. This card is basically a 4-mana 4/3. When it ETBs, you exile target non-use creature an opponent controls until the cube leaves the field. So it kind of acts as a Skyclave Apparition, but you also have this mana sink, where for X and a black, you put target creature card with mana value X, exiled with the cube, into its owner's graveyard. So if the opponent is about to take out your cube with a removal spell or in combat, you can pay the mana cost of the creature you exiled with the cube +1, and it will not go back to the opponent's side of the board. Card's amazing in creature mirrors, and it's a crazy tempo swing for the opponent. They have to deal with it, and if you have open mana, then you can always threaten to just make sure they don't get their creature back. This also plays really well at instant speed with cards like Ebon Death, because most of the time the cards you're exiling with the cube are going to have high mana costs, and if your opponent doesn't end up using removal or ends up not having removal, you can just flash in a Massive Dragon, a 4-mana 5/2 Flying Flash. At ETB's tapped, which is a downside, but it's still okay because the very powerful text it has. You can cast it from your yard if a creature not named Ebon Death Dracolich died this turn. So against rogues, this card is a basically free creature. The opponent has to respect your cards, and you can reanimate this thing over and over and over again over the course of a game. It again enters tapped, so you can't ambush in combat. But just the fact that it's a recurring threat, a flash threat, and a 5/3 flyer means it definitely earns its spot as a 2-of in the deck. We also have a top-end card. We have the Westgate Regent, 5-mana 4/4 Flying Ward, and the ward is discard a card. So unlike paying mana or life, this thing actually gets you a 2-for-1, so to remove it, it costs the removal spell and the discard card, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So it basically doubles its power each turn, as long as it connects. It's a threat that has to be answered, and if not, it will end the game very quickly. Aside from that, we have the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. It's another manland, so we run the Snow Package and Faceless Haven, and we also run the Hive. It enters tapped like all the other new monocolored manlands if you control 2 or more lands. And for 3 and a black, it becomes a 3/3 creature with menace, and whenever it attacks, you get to exile a card from the opponent's graveyard. So having 6 manlands in a deck that it's trying to be super aggressive is really strong, and this card definitely put in work for me today. Older creatures we have, or older cards, are just some 3 drops like Hunted Nightmare, Murderous Rider, and Nighthawk Scavenger. This set gave us absolutely nothing in terms of good black 3 drops, so we're running the old package that I actually have become a pretty big fan of in the recent standard sets. And we also have Freebooter as some hand hate because Ultimatum is still a deck and control decks still crop up here and there, and having a 2 mana 1/2 flyer that takes a thing from the opponent's hand is pretty relevant. It also blocks a lot of 1/1s well, so I like the card. I think it definitely earns its spot in the deck. Also Shadow Spear, because racing is important sometimes, and sometimes you just need the extra lifelink. Also, in case indestructible is a relevant keyword, like there's a lot of Heliod's right now, you can make the opponent's gods or like Clothis or that kind of thing lose indestructible. Anyways, guys, the deck list will be in the description down below as always. If you like the deck, be sure to drop a like on the video and consider subscribing. It motivates me to make more content. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Let's get into some games. Okay, I mean, we're on the draw, but we have a pretty good hand. Nice 1, 2, 3 against a Speaker of the Heavens. So Shambling Ghast might be able to pull up. And even if we didn't draw land 3, we can potentially make a treasure off this thing. Do I just kill it now? I don't think so. The opponent's doesn't really want to attack into this. So we can just start getting aggressive. I'm going to hold the Shambling Ghast back. So for this to work, the opponent has to gain 3 life. Heliod, okay. Yeah. That's all the opponent does for now. We can get in there with the Shade. And do I want to attack with the Ghast? If I attack with the Ghast, then what does the rest of my turn look like? I could play a Dungeon Crawler and a Freebooter. I could just play a Nightmare. Or I could play the Dungeon Crawler and hold open removal spell. I think we attack. Just get the opponent further off 27 life. Yep. Play land. Now, I'm definitely playing this. I don't want to give this thing a Death Touch counter. So we're going to play the 2/1. And now what? Removal or add to the board? I think we play the Freebooter. Just get into the opponent's hand. We take the book, which is pretty nice. Now the opponent just has double Speaker. Heliod is legendary, it doesn't do anything for them. They need to start gaining a lot of life. They have double Speaker, but... Okay, they animate Heliod, which is a thing you can definitely do. So do I just remove one of these Speakers? It turns off the Heliod's Devotion. And then we can attack. The opponent will be able to crack back for 1. Unless I hold back, like a Shambling Ghast or something. I think I hold back the Shambling Ghast. We shoot the Speaker. Turn off Heliod's Devotion. Definitely attack with the Shade, Dungeon Crawler, and Freebooter. Well, I could actually hold back the Freebooter and just attack here. And then the opponent will need to gain life to put a counter on this, and we have a good block. So it seems good. And the opponent scoops it up. Nice. On the draw, but we have a sweet little aggro curve, and we managed to get there against, like, very, very dedicated mono-white life gain. Okay, let's go. On the play, we have a nice 1, maybe 2. Hopefully we can draw one of our, 8 2-drops that are actual creatures. Against mono red, we might just be able to removal spell something. I love the fact that black has a 1 mana 2/1. It's freaking sweet. Okay, they just remove it. That's fine. If the opponent plays 2-drop and we get to kill it, then Nightmare looks really good. It just comes down as a 3 mana 4/5. And we want to get this land off Summoning Sickness because we might animate it next turn. Death Touch counter on nothing. Really sweet. Okay. So I think we just play another Nightmare instead of attacking with the Faceless Haven. We can get this one off Summoning Sickness too, but then we don't get to bluff up whatever 1 mana black interaction, like a Village Rites. Yeah, so we just play double Nightmare, and the opponent's dead in 2 turns. We can also just start animating Faceless Havens. Oh yeah, let's go. Absolutely beating down red. Black 3-drops are not that great, but they manage to get the job done. Okay, this hand is not very aggressive, but hopefully double removal spell can get us there, and ideally we draw some more lands. Okay, mono white, perfect. This is the exact matchup I want to see a lot of removal spells. Alright, I guess we're drawing all power word kills. See, the fact that it says non-angel kind of stresses me out because this deck can produce angels at a pretty good rate. Okay, cleric class. Whenever you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. Then it basically is a Johnny's Pridemate effect. And we'll worry about the last one in a minute. Let's keep reading it. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, then you gain life equal to its toughness. Okay. Doesn't seem horrible. Okay, Griffin Airy. Is this life gain deck just popping up everywhere? Like, I don't know. Weird. Land 3, we did it, boys. So, Scavenger. Seems fine. Blocks the Cleric well. Can start getting the opponent off 27 life. This gains 2 life a turn now, so not this turn, but next turn they'll be able to start making angels. But I also have my instant speed removal. So if I draw land and the opponent plays like Skyclave Apparition, I can blow up both of those creatures. Orator. Okay. Orator pass. So I'm going to attack. Opponent's down to 22. Maybe it's greedy, but I think I go for Scavenger. This says whenever you gain life. Okay, we're going for the Scavenger. Double Scavenger. Death Touch Lifelink Flyers in a aggro mirror are pretty good, which is why in my mono black aggro decks in Best of 1 I like to include at least a couple of these. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge mono black aggro fan. I've been trying out multiple builds throughout pretty much all of Standard recently. Like all of recent Standard, I guess. Okay, Heliod comes down. Gain 2. You can put the counter on the speaker and attack, but you lose the speaker. And you don't get to 27 life. Heliod turned on is awkward. Oh, so the opponent's trying to make a Griffin, a 2/2, by gaining more life. That's fine. They make their Orator bigger. They turn off Heliod Devotion. Okay. That's a lot of stuff. So, when it ETBs, exile target non-ooze creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. I could just exile this Griffin. Right? Like, I could just pull up, take the Griffin. I could double removal spell. But I think I'm pretty happy to just take the token. And if they remove the cube, they don't get anything. And I could start a weird counter race because they're both gaining life. And if the opponent turns on Heliod, I can take their Heliod, I guess. That's pretty cool. So X and black, put target creature card with mana value X, exiled with Gelatinous Cube into its owner's graveyard. Yeah. So technically, I can get rid of Heliod. I'm going to take that 13 gladly. Shade doesn't do all that much for me. I think it's time to get rid of Heliod while we still can. Gone. Now get in with one of the scavengers. We can leave the other one back as a blocker, and if the opponent wants to trade for their Valkyrie, that's fine. We still have 2 removal spells in hand. In creature mirrors, these cubes put in so much work. Alright, what's it gonna be? Plenty of life gain payoffs in the deck. Like, this is an enabler and a payoff. This is an enabler, this is a payoff and an enabler. These are both payoffs. This is, I guess, both kind of, as they level it up. Pretty cool deck. So what's the play now? Do I just double removal spell and get in there? I can remove one of them for sure. I'm gonna remove the Orator and attack all. Because if the opponent wants to block anything, the Valkyrie will die. And if not, they take this massive bump. Yep. And we go up to 19. Now, Shade or Hold Open removal spell. I think we just get Shade down, because what am I really removing? They can level up their Cleric class. If they start gaining life, like, it's kind of whatever. Okay, I'm gonna get the Shade down. Just want to be mana efficient. I think taking out the Orator was correct. I could also just spend the 4 mana to get rid of the Heliod forever. Okay, Cleric. Opponent's gonna gain a bunch of life and make a bunch of Griffins. But see, even if we had... What? Even if we had this open, would it have mattered? We could just remove the Valkyrie. I think we... Do we attack all here? I'm gonna play the land. I can animate the land and attack all, and then I can still use Power Word Kill if they want to block something awkwardly. Or like, let's say they want to double block this cube, which I think is their best bet. I might be throwing away the Shade to the Valkyrie, but if they block like that, I can still use Power Word Kill. So I think this is the play. We animate the Haven. And we just straight up get in there. We just try to get the opponent dead. Yeah, okay, they block the Shade like that. We'll see if they want to awkwardly, or if they want to double block the Gelatinous Cube or not. Or if they want to double block a Scavenger. Or the Faceless Haven itself. Okay, single block, double block on the cube. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. So we just trying to get a ton of damage in. Opponent goes to 8, and we trade it for a Shade, which we can rebuy a bunch of times anyways. Not bad. There's land 4 that came off the top. They missed their 4th land for a little while now. And I think this Cleric came off the top last turn, or it might have been an Airy. I wonder if they're running Skyclave Apparition. That would be really good. Okay, more life gain payoff. And they pass. So do I just animate Faceless Haven? Okay, well, at least know we have Landfall enabled. Are they dead? So it's like block, block, and they look dead to a Faceless Haven to me. So we're going to animate it up, and we're going to get in there with everything. And we're going to see what's up. Are they just dead? The Valkyrie doesn't even trade for anything. They have 1 card in hand. They're at 8. It's not looking too good for them. Go to damage. And yeah, that's GG's. Taking out mono white life gain at the ironic 27 life. That's what I call flavor. Okay, no 1-drop, and a lot of 4-drops. This is a close keep. I'm not sure if we draw like a 1-drop or a 3-drop, or actually any other 2-drop, it's not horrible. I'm gonna keep. I really don't like mulliganing, especially on the play, especially with aggro decks. And hopefully, if the game goes a bit longer, Lich can help us get there. Alright, mono red, not missing their 1-drop. Okay, Hive is not bad. At least we drew it now. And they play a Robber. We have the 2-mana removal spell. It's fine. If we have to take turn 3 off, that's gonna suck. And we don't, but giving this thing Death Touch is really awkward. Like, really awkward. But we can get rid of it with the cube, so I think it's worth it. I don't think we could just play nothing. And Nightmare still has Menace and still attacks back. So that's pretty cool. The only reason giving Charger Death Touch is awkward is because it can trade for 2 creatures. So, we have land 4. What's the play? Do I just cube the Charger? Or do I play, like, the Lich at instant speed? Or do I cube the Giant? These are all interesting calls. They can start leaving this back, though, which is not great. But we have 2 evasive threats, so maybe it is just getting rid of the Giant. I mean, this attacks anyways, but this is a bigger body, so racing's more awkward. Basically, I have a Menace land, and I have this as a potential flyer, and this is a potential flyer. So I'm not exactly trying to block this Charger. Yeah, you good. Okay, we didn't draw it, but we can take out Annex, which is still pretty nice. Opponent doesn't... Oh no, opponent does have 3 snow permanents. But priority's passing in a way that it doesn't look like they have Frostbite. Man, Gelatinous Cube is sick. It's kind of like the Black Skyclave Apparition. Okay, other Annex. Really? Still attacking with the Charger. That's pretty aggressive. Shadow Spear. So do I just give this thing lifelink? Can I even lose if this thing has lifelink? You know what? I'm gonna play it safe. Wait, I can just attack all, right? The opponent can block 1 and then they're dead? It looks like. Yeah, they're just dead on board unless they have a Frostbite, which they would have needed to top deck. So I think we just go like this. And if they try to remove one of these Liches, I could just dissolve the creature underneath. They can't block the Nightmare. So is that just it? Do they just die here? Bone Crusher Giant. Okay. I think they're just dead anyways, right? Am I tripping? No, I'm not. Alright, well, we outrace mono red, even though we're on the draw with a not very aggressive hand, which is pretty sweet. Okay, let's go. We have, I mean, 2 1-drops and 2 3-drops. But I think that's fine. We'll get our 1 mana 2/1 down on turn 1. Look at me getting it right. I've been saying 2 mana 2/1 for like the entire duration of this recording session, and it's starting to annoy me. And it's literally me doing it to myself, so I can only imagine how frustrating it can be for a viewer. Okay, I'm going to attack with both, no blocks. I can give this thing Death Touch, right? Yeah, it seems okay. It doesn't really trade well with anything, and it's a 2-mana 3/2, so the opponent wants to be attacking with it anyways. Harbinger. No shot. Harbinger, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Actual Garruk's Harbinger. So, hexproof from black. Can't be the target of black spells or abilities, so the Ghast's -1 doesn't work, which is super unfortunate. I will get down the Faceless Haven. So what's the play? I mean, Harbinger can get in there. I think I just play Other Nightmare, give the thing Death Touch too. Honestly, it's kind of whatever. If the opponent's going to attack, then I can just try to race them. Okay. Is the opponent dead? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if I just take this, they're dead. If I block here and I animate the land, they're dead, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so I might as well just do this. It doesn't really matter. Unless I'm tripping, right? No, I don't think it matters. Because we have the Faceless Haven. Right, so we just animate. And we kill them with exact lethal. There's a couple ways we could have done that, but good to know my mono black aggro deck can kill the opponent very quickly. Oh boy, Rogues player. Luris. Okay, so we're on the draw with the Skyclave Shade. Not that many lands. Nightmare's not bad as long as we can cast it. Lich is pretty good. I think we keep this, but we really do need to draw some lands. 24 lands on the draw. I hope we can get there. Turn 1 Ruin Crab. Out the gate. Okay, that's good. Land 3 is very necessary. And the milling begins. No attacks with the crab? Come on. Come on. No BM? I'm mono black, like, it's very clear. Plus I faced this guy before today. Like, he knows. Okay, Thought Thief online. Wind Robber. What, Blue Source of One Mind? Bloodchief's Thirst, okay. Yeah, Nightmare isn't great against a board full of creatures. Okay, if we see Blue Source of One Mind, I'm gonna freak out. Man, you're no fun. Attack with your crab. But this guy's draws just have been nuts. Like, it just is what it is. Do I get the shade down? I think so. I can get I can kill the Thought Thief, which is like an actual issue. But we have to start threatening the opponent's life total, or we're never gonna win the game. So we'll play the Shade. I guess Wind Robber's holding priority. At least there was no of One Mind. That would have been a devastating turn. Mill me for some more. And we reanimate the Shade while we can, right? It's pretty much just a free creature that the opponent has to keep removing. Okay. Lich seems pretty nice. If the opponent removes my Shade here at, you know, during my turn, then I can buy it back. I think we just pass here and flash in dragons. Okay, Thieves Guild Enforcer. Yep. Opponent might actually kill me. I am slightly concerned. Right now, what's this? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I go to 6. Then the opponent hits me down to 1. Yeah, opponent's just on that aggro rogues plan. Their draw's been a lot of cheap cards. My draw's been a lot of expensive cards. Like, one misplaced counterspell and we just lose the game. Or, you know, if they counter one of my spells that are like really important, like this removal spell, then we just end up losing. I attack. I could have held this back. I'm going to play out a Nightmare. It's a real creature the opponent might respect. I mean, they can give any of these things Death Touch. It doesn't really matter. The crab kind of doesn't do anything. It deals 0 damage. Windrobber. Sure. If the opponent taps their blue mana, I'm going to remove this Thought Thief. And I'm not technically dead on board because I can block with the Nightmare, which is nice. Interesting game. Okay, eliminate. I'm going to shoot this thing in response. It removes 4 power from the board. So, you know, pretty good. Opponent will keep being aggressive. I mean, fair enough. And what? They maybe go to 1 here? I could hold this back. I could also play Cube. What's the play? I don't want to be dead to a removal spell. So does that mean my best play is just Gelatinous Cube on the Enforcer? I think so, right? No, because this is a tap land. So if they remove it, they get it back, but then it's still on Summoning Sickness. So okay, I do think Cube is the play. Plus the Menace land can really come in handy. Opponent chump blocks. Okay, no more crab. Down to 5. Play the weird land, or the man land, and we take the Enforcer. So now if they remove my Gelatinous Cube, it's okay, because the Enforcer's on Summoning Sickness. If they have a Soaring Thought Thief, I'm dead in the air because of the Lord effect. If I took this instead and they had a removal, I would just be dead to the Thieves Guild Enforcer. So I think it's better to take this because they run more removal than they do Soaring Thought Thieves. Right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's correct. So I just attack with 2. It costs... Wait, are they dead? I can animate this land. Okay, this is gonna be close. They can only kill one thing, and they have to block the Draco Lich. So the Windrobber's blocking the Lich, meaning I don't have to actually worry about the cube dying. And that means that I can flash this in on their turn and still get rid of the cube, and then I don't have to use my man land. Okay. So we attack. The opponent has to block here and here. Yeah, we expect this. They cycle their Windrobber, which I didn't actually expect. I expect them to just take the trade. Cool. So, this costs 2 mana to actually use. Oh, the opponent scoops it up. I'm trying to play around the most things possible. And I think, all in all, I played that pretty well, the way I sequenced and everything. Again, the opponent was stuck on 3 mana. And I did lose to them before, but that's just because they had, I think, 5 removal spells and 2 rogues, and we just got tempoed out. But yeah, honestly, not a bad game.